welcome back to Beck's Flavor. If you're new here, I would like to give you a great welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share. Press the bell icon so you never miss me again. So, as you can see, we are making this lovely, rich, flaky meat pie today. Okay, this meat pie will change your life. Okay, so let's get straight into making this meat pie. If you want to know, stay tuned, don't go anywhere. So here I have my list of ingredients. Well, not full ingredients, but I will list everything below in the description box, so check that out. I'll start off with my plain flour, and then I'll add in my baking powder and a little bit of salt. All the measurements will be listed down below, so don't worry about that. I'll also add in my nutmeg. Like I always say, I like my fresh nutmeg because I like the flavor that it gives me rather than the one that is already been done in the store. Mix everything together so that nothing stays in one corner, fully incorporated, so you can get started with your pastry. I like to use this butter, even though it says it's for cake. I like using it because, you know, it gives it that extra flavor. I like the taste that it gives me. It's nice, you know, it gives it like a rich flavor to it. I'm just gonna chop it up. Does that make sense? Not even chop it up. I'm just gonna break it in little chunks so that it mixes well in the flour, because you don't want to overwork the flour. That's the trick to making meat pie. You don't want to overwork the flour, otherwise it becomes chewy and hard. Unlike making bread that you need to activate the gluten, you don't need to do that with meat pie, hence why I am making everything small. So this lovely thing that I have here is a lifesaver, guys. Okay, so apart from you not wanting to activate the gluten, you also don't want to use your warm hands instantly in the flour. You want to keep everything as cold as possible, so your butter needs to be cold as well. So I use this to sort of mix everything together. You can also use your hands, which is fine. Just make sure that you work at a quick rate so that you don't warm the butter up too much in your pastry. Once everything is fully incorporated, you should be able to fold it up and it should hold itself, and it should also be able to crumble back out again. That's when you know that you've got enough butter in it. Okay, we're going for a rich pie. Okay, this is not a diet food, I'm sorry, unfortunately. So we're going to add a bit of milk to it just to bind everything together. Just make sure you don't overwork your flour too much. As I said before, we are trying to make it nice and flaky and rich, not crunchy and chewy. So you add the milk bit by bit to make sure that you can form it into a dough or form it into a ball. And once you form it into a ball, you know, this is where you know that your dough is ready. After you've done, we put it in the cling film, and I'm going to put this in the fridge for about 20 minutes so it can rest and cool off even more, because you need to treat this pastry with, you know, delicate hands. You don't want to overwork it too much, so you want to just leave it to a rest whilst you get on into your filling. So here I've got tuna and my corned beef. Well, somebody in my house likes fish, and of course I like the meat, so we have to compromise on that. So with the fish, I'm going to add a bit of seasoning and a bit of black pepper. I'm not going to add any seasoning to the corned beef, just the black pepper, simply because it's very salted already. The corned beef's got enough salt in it, so I don't want to add any more all-purpose seasoning in it. It's just going to be salty. I'm also going to add a bit of onions into it, just a little bit, just simply because we don't really like much onion in our meat pie. But if you like more onion, go for it. It's your food, you can have it anyhow you like it. Okay, I'm just going to mix everything together to incorporate the seasoning and the onions together in the filling. So now we take out our chilled pastry and we're just going to flour our surface, our clean surface. Make sure your surface is clean before you do all of this, please. And we're going to put our dough in it. So I've got this pie cutter plus molder. You don't have to necessarily have that, but I've got that for convenience sake. Okay, so I'm just going to cut up my dough bit by bit, because like I said before, you don't want to overwork the dough. So you're just going to take the dough that you need. So take a smaller, size, so that you don't have to overwork it. So if you're rolling it, just be sure that you just roll it very gently, not very harshly, very hard. You can use any size you want. I'm just going to try and use the big size, so I use the outer part to cut out the shape that I want. And that's how you just use the pastry cutter if you have one. You don't have to use it. If you don't have one, you can just use a bowl, which I'm going to show you soon. So again, I gently press into it before I use my roller pin to gently go over it, just ever so slightly. It doesn't have to be thin. You don't, unless you like your meat pie very thin. So here I've got my bowl, and I can use that as well instead of the pastry molder or the pastry cutter. You could just simply use anything that you have at hand. Make your life easy, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of my pastry, ready to be filled with my filling. I decided to use the smaller one because the big one was just a bit too big. Like I said, this is not a diet food, okay? It's very rich. It's got lots of butter in it. So I try to make it as small as I can so that you pick one up, you eat it, and then you leave it at that. So I just have my one egg that I'm just going to whisk up with my brush. And then what I do is I put the egg on the edges of the pie crust, so that when I put it together, it sticks together. So when it goes into the oven, it doesn't open, so it can sort of close flatly. Then I'm just going to put in my filling. We don't like a lot of filling in our pie. We love the pie crust more than the actual filling. So I don't tend to use a lot of meat or a lot of fish in my meat pie, but if you like your meat pie to overflow with filling, go for it. This is your food. Once again, have it anyhow you like it. So if you don't have the pie molder, you can also just use, freelance, just use your hand, and you can also get it done that way. But you close it up and you use your fingers to press it down so that it closes, to make sure that it doesn't open once it gets into the oven. And there you go, simple as that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my pie molder again, and then obviously I'm going to alternate with the meat and the fish. I'm going to make sure that everything's equal, so no one's cheating anyone. We can all have equal pies. Still continuing doing the pie as usual, just filling in the fish pie, whilst I think my meat is already done. So now onto the fish pie, getting ready for the oven. After it's all done, I'm just going to poke holes with my fork into the pie. This will ensure that when it goes into the oven and it gets heated, it doesn't open up, it doesn't explode, because the heat needs to go somewhere, the steam needs to go somewhere. And then I'm going to give it a quick egg wash, which gives it that nice golden brown touch to it. So once it goes into the oven, it comes out looking nice and golden. So definitely egg wash your meat pie. I'm just going to do the same with the meat pie. I know this is meat because I put 3 forks marks in there and the other one was 2. That shows me which one it is. So I know which one I'm eating when I pick it up. I'm just going to give it an egg wash again. And then I'm going to place it in the oven, a preheated oven, for about half an hour on 180 degrees. Just keep an eye on it because everybody's is different. And there you have it. Nice golden brown. Look at how easy that breaks because it's so rich, so flaky, so lovely. Look at that. Okay. Are you inspired to make this meat pie? Come on, go for it. And this is the fish pie. Just gonna open it and break it so you see how easy that breaks. Okay, that's how you want your meat pie to be, nice and flaky and rich. And there you go. This meat pie is succulent, it's tasty, it's lovely. You can pair it with anything you want, hot tea, hot chocolate, a cold tea, whatever you like, or even a chilled malt. I hope you enjoyed this edition of my meat pie. Please subscribe, like and share, and also press the bell icon so you don't miss me again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.